So often we've been told that doodling is a sign of distraction, inattentiveness, boredom, fatigue, and even disruption in a classroom or in a business meeting setting. But actually, the reverse is true. Doodling is a mental form of fidgeting. So it's the brain's response. It's sort of its backstop uh, method to keep the brain connected enough and attentive enough so you don't go into full daydreaming mode. And in fact, in a study of doodlers and memory retention, they had a bunch of people doodling, and at the same time, they were given a list of names to remember. And they had, as opposed to the control group, 29% more retention of information. So even if you're doodling, you're still paying attention, and in fact paying more attention than those who are not. The other interesting thing is that it also connects with hand-eye. So the same thing is true if you, for example, make notes in longhand form versus typing them in on your laptop or tablet. You're also retaining more attention if you write notes in longhand, because that actual act is enabling the brain to digest the information, not just the manual labor of recording it. Doodling activates the prefrontal cortex, which manages the ability to problem solve, reason, use logic, and memorize. The prefrontal cortex is where attention is directed. In a study they did of doodling, coloring, and spontaneous art, and they had artists and non-artists in this research project. And they found that the rewards are the same for artists and non-artists, the same attribute, the same ability to process and actually find more information is all there. So that's really interesting that you don't have to be an artist to get your creativity juices rewarded in the brain. It doesn't matter at all. This is an interesting thing. Doodling moves the thought process from our language center to the visual centers in our brain. So what often happens is that things that we don't understand or don't have the words to understand, we can express in art, in doodling in this case. And what's interesting is that this can happen on a conscious or subconscious level. So some of those moments of great insight and new ways of thinking and perception, that can all happen with doodling. Doodling is thought to be more of a thinking process, again, because you are challenging the brain to think and process information and innovate. It's a way, it's a unique artistic way of thinking and processing and innovating. As a result, the problem solving that you get rewarded with in doodling is not linear. It is associative. So again, this is when you get moments of inspiration, innovation, when you're rewarded with new ways of thinking. And it's important to note that just as we get stuck in our reactions to things, we can get stuck in our thinking patterns. And one of the benefits, again, of doodling is that it gets us unstuck. we are, especially if it's spontaneous, if we don't have any intention, uh, then we get uh, those new insights, new patterns, uh, new ways of connecting dots that we never have considered before. I love this quote. There's too much evidence that suggests that what's really happening is that a doodler is engaging in deep and necessary information processing. A doodler is concentrating intently, sifting through information, conscious and otherwise, and much more often than we realize, generating massive insights. And when we talk about filling in the gaps, that can also be psychological, for example. As we mentioned before, uh, doodling gets us out of our linear thinking. And often, when we don't have the words to express either the information we're processing or the feelings we're processing, we can do that with doodling. It brings up all those latent feelings that we haven't yet understood or taken the opportunity to analyze. And again, this is where doodling and any artistic endeavor shuts down that little mental chatter that you have nagging at you all day long, the shoulds and what are you doing and why is your mic falling? Um, and it increases creativity in the right brain, which again, you get increased blood circulation and you get those alpha waves that promote the wonderful creative flow state that we all love to have and cherish. And because you're coordinating your hand and your eye with your body and your mind, it's also a meditative experience, very soothing and calming, engaging all parts of your body, mind, and soul. If you fill your mind with certain ideas or expectations, you're robbing yourself of the opportunity to discover something new that you never imagined. Carol Edmonston has written a book, in fact, on doodling as a way to process fear, challenges in your life. And again, as with all things creative, spontaneity is the key, and not having an intention. It really opens you up to new possibilities, new ways of thinking, new ways of doing and feeling. It obviously enhances our creativity and our reward systems in our brain as well. And I really want to emphasize how it can be a marvelous practice to do on your own. Just 15 minutes a day. It will give you that release, that special me time where you can just let your brain and hand wander and see what results you might have. And this author, in fact, suggests that a minimum of 15 minutes a day is preferable to have this meditative and creative experience, as well as making it a family endeavor as well. If you have young kids, for example, this is a great way and an easy way and not a beating over the head way of introducing a wonderful wellness technique, because really doodling is part of all of our lives. We've all done it, and now we can do it and promote it as a mental wellness, an emotional wellness, a spiritual wellness, and a creativity wellness technique that we can all enjoy and benefit from. So there you have it. Be creative, doodle away. I remember that a few years ago, I was going through boxes and boxes of my grandfather's old files. He was a psychiatrist. And out of curiosity, I opened some of the patient files unnamed. So no concerns about privacy whatsoever. That was all taken care of. But I was surprised that my grandfather was doodling in the margins, and he had prescription pads full of doodles. So I was imagining my grandfather in that infamous psychiatric chair with his patient lying down, relating all those inner challenges. And meanwhile, my grandfather was doodling. So I was at first mortified, but then on his behalf, but then I realized now that, of course, he was paying attention in unique ways and in deep ways to what his patient was relating. And often, as we said earlier, connecting the dots is a great way to have new insight. Thank you for coming by today. It was fun, challenging, interesting, different, because this is the first time I've done a live using StreamYard, and there are lots of things to consider, but it's been fun, and I hope you enjoy this little talk about doodling, and feel free to doodle away. Thanks for watching.